Hello everyone and welcome back to Two Bros Hot Takes, where we watch a movie and then tell you if you should watch a movie. I am your movie watching host, Older Bro.
I'm your other movie watching host, Younger Bro.
And today, we begin a series of movies that I have never seen before and have no context of.
Wait, you've never seen the original Twister?
No.
Wow, okay.
All I can tell is that... Okay, I'm going to give a description of this movie. First off, let me ask a basic question about the original Twisters. How much of the original Twisters was about the Twister?
So, okay.
Because, like, this movie, you could argue, isn't really about the Twister.
No, I'd say this movie probably is, like, the follow-up to the last movie.
Yeah.
It is true follow-up, and...
But the original movie wasn't about these characters. It was just a completely different movie about
There
Twister.
are no returning characters except for one thing that I'll point out.
Okay.
But there is no returning characters. Honestly, I thought there was going to be in one specific scene that I'll talk about later. But
there wasn't any?
No.
Yeah.
There was no original characters from the last film, which is kind of sad, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be the next generation of Storm Chasers. But anyway, guys, yes, we went and saw the new Twister movie. Of course we did. Yeah. I've seen the original. So my original fear was tornadoes.
Sure.
Even though I watched that movie and I was scared shitless through that entire movie, I still enjoyed it.
Sure.
But then after I watched it the first time, I only watched it like one other time, like 5 years later. And now I'm watching the sequel to that movie. But I also watched the original before we saw this movie, so I did see it again 10 years later.
Cool.
So,
but yeah, never seen it, no context of it. But yeah, I'm suspecting the original was not. I'm gonna say this without insulting this movie. This movie felt like a Hallmark movie. I'm assuming the original was not a Hallmark movie.
Hallmark?
Yeah, Hallmark is very well known for making... I'm a woman from the city who comes back to a small town, and then there's some, like, friend that I have, and also this new guy, and there's gonna be a love triangle / romance, and that's every single one of their movies.
There was a love triangle in the first movie.
Okay, so, yeah, the feeling I got out of this movie was, this is just a Hallmark movie, but with slightly more stakes. Because most Hallmark movies are about, like, oh no, our house is gonna be, the house is gonna be taken by a land developer unless we do X and Y or something like that. It's gonna be it's a very small scale problem. This is literally, if we don't solve this problem, millions of people will die.
Yeah, it gets more serious in this film.
But yeah, it definitely was like, oh, I'm watching a Hallmark movie. I've never intentionally sat down and watched a Hallmark movie.
But compared to the original, I want to say both are just as good.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd say it's worth watching both.
I was... both me and Younger Bro, because we did not look up the time of this movie. We were incredibly shocked that this movie was 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour-long movie.
Yeah, just absolutely cannot believe that this was a 2-hour-long movie. There wasn't a lot in it that I would say needed cut out. It didn't have a slow pace or anything. It was
I think they did it really well.
Yeah, it's just, I was shocked that it was 2 hours.
Like, everything leading up to the end, everything made sense to me.
Yep.
I don't think I had really any issues with this film at all.
Yeah, it was a very straightforward movie. All the characters made sense.
Like, halfway through the movie, pretty much as soon as we hit that halfway mark, both me and Older Bro just started cracking up at all of their shit. Yeah, hillbillies with a YouTube channel.
Yep, sounds about right.
Oh, it's so good.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I don't know of any Storm Chaser YouTube channels personally, but I 100% believe they exist, and there are a lot of other YouTube channels that are similar types of things.
I did look it up. That guy in the film does not actually
No,
have
no,
a
of course he
YouTube
does not
channel.
exist. No.
I was hopeful that I could just go subscribe to him.
No.
Just because of the
That
movie.
was made up for this movie, but there probably are YouTube channels similar to it about things like this.
Yeah, there were, and there's also things in movies like, say, if you see a phone number in a movie, you can call it. And I know in one instance for the Terminator film, you get Arnold Schwarzenegger's voicemail.
Yeah.
Saying, I cannot be with you at this moment.
I would believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger got a separate phone number specifically for that movie that was actually a phone number he had that he owned. He never actually listened to that voicemail ever. But
no, it's just for the lulz.
Yeah,
they've done that in movies for the longest time.
Yeah, exactly. So, makes sense.
I know they've done it since like the beginning of some of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I'd believe that too.
Okay, so yeah, really good movie, really worth it to go watch, especially if you have, I shouldn't say especially, if you have a fear of tornadoes, you may not like this movie, but if you have any interest of how a tornado works and you're scared of it, you should probably go see it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in this movie where they do go in depth on certain tornado,
Yeah.
like how tornadoes work. So, I definitely recommend it if you have any scientific knowledge of tornadoes or want to learn about tornadoes. So, yeah, that's about it for the non-spoiler section. Honestly, I'm not sure how much we're gonna actually have in the spoilers section of this movie.
It's probably gonna mainly be me.
We'll talk about something here.
Okay, guys. So, before we get into anything big, I looked it up. I have researched it. So, the purpose of this movie is they want to disrupt a tornado before it can cost lives. That is the main purpose of this film.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I think this. I don't know that this movie is 100% correct because it talks about like, was it E1, E5,
F1
or F1, F5, and they say that has nothing to do with like size or wind speed. It's only damage. I don't think that's technically true. I think that's how it originally started, but I think that when people refer to them in meteorology, they do
refer to the size.
They refer to the size, and they are referring to it's this big, it has these wind speeds. So I think it started out as it caused this much damage, it was this big of a storm, but it has actually become it has these speeds and this is this big, it's this size, it's this category.
So, here's the thing. Yes, it is a big deal to disrupt a tornado in this film as they make it out to be. But here's the thing, we've been able to do it for the longest time. There's one issue with it.
Yeah.
Disrupting a tornado does not stop the storm.
No, and that's not the goal of it. The goal of stopping a tornado isn't to stop the storm overall. It's to prevent the winds spinning and causing damage. Just causing downpours of rain, people would be absolutely fine with.
But the main issue is, say you disrupt a tornado, another one will appear within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's necessarily true. But,
No, I
but
looked
it is.
it up.
But
that is how that works.
Yeah, but
so,
it wouldn't be guaranteed that you would prevent a tornado entirely.
It wouldn't.
It is
help.
It
much.
is probably likely that because, for example, in this movie they have like an F5 show up. It is probably likely that if you could do something like this movie, you could reduce the severity of the next tornado, in that you would turn more of it into rain and less of it would have the ability to turn into high wind speeds. And so it's likely that you would reduce it from an F5 to an F3 or something, and there would still be a tornado. It just would cause much less damage. But even that's
from my understanding,
it's not clear.
From my understanding, disrupting the tornado actually makes it worse.
Yeah, that's the thing, is there's a reason why we don't do this. And one of the reasons why is because it's actually it's illegal. Like, it is illegal to try to do this because it is considered a war crime to modify the weather in any way. So it is illegal for you to do what this movie does. Do not try to do it. You will go to jail. Just to be very clear on this.
Now the guy doing the YouTube channel where he has like pistons into his truck
Where he shoots fireworks.
Where he shoots fireworks, that's fine.
That's legal. It's stupid. But it's legal. You shouldn't do that, but you can. By the way, that guy needs to get better drills for his truck. Like his drills
it
were
needs
like
to be deeper.
I was gonna say he had like maybe 2-foot drills. You need like 4 or 5-foot drills. You need to go way down.
Yeah,
to prevent your
that's
truck
why
from going.
that's why that truck flipped over.
Yeah, it's like no, because this is something I've been watching a lot of home renovation videos because of wanting to move. So I've been looking at like, here's how you can tell if a house is damaged or whatever. And one of the things they talk about is whenever you're putting in like any kind of foundation, you need to go 4 feet down because you need to get under the frost line. So because the upper earth is going to easily freeze and easily move. So the deeper you go down, the more solid it's going to be. So yeah, you need to go like 4 or 5 foot down with any kind of drill if you want your truck to not move in 200-mile-an-hour winds. Remember, guys, tornadoes have much, much, much higher winds than hurricanes. Like, hurricanes do not have 200-mile-an-hour winds. Tornadoes do, because they're smaller. Hurricanes are huge.
Dense.
Yeah, hurricanes are huge. They'll still cause damage, but the winds are much slower.
Yeah,
So,
that's insane.
So yeah, if you want to have 200-mile-an-hour winds, not pick up your truck, you'd better have some goddamn 5-foot drills going down. And I'd have like 4 of them.
I wonder if we get Twister 3, if it's going to be Hurricane. Like, it will be water spouts.
I don't know.
We did sort of get that in the first film.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get that in this one. We got something much worse. We got a tornado made of fucking fire.
Yeah,
and
a fire twister is very...
A fire twister. I was like, oh, shit.
It's so good. Just beautiful.
So, yeah.
I love that moment in the movie where they're like, I can't fucking see anything. And then suddenly there's a fire twister. And it's like, well, I think you can fucking see that now. Oh, so good.
Oh, shit. Yeah, when they lost visual, I'm like, they're gonna either die or something bad's gonna happen. Something bad happened. And then, literally, the best scenario happens where a piece of metal flips the truck back over, and he just hightails it out of there. Like,
absolute miracle.
That is the best case scenario.
Yeah, because that's the thing in this movie. One of the things about being a storm chaser is you have to be equal parts smart and equal parts stupid. You have to both know what you're doing enough to drive into a tornado, and also know enough to know exactly when to get the fuck out, but also be stupid enough to want to drive into a tornado to begin with. It's like, because yeah, this guy clearly is like, we can learn a lot of stuff from doing this, from driving into this tornado. But also knows, oh shit, get out of here, no!
Yeah.
The other guy just being like, stop right now. And he's like, okay. Gets out, slams door, drives off. No, fuck you.
Fuck you, we're not taking on
You're an
F5.
idiot.
That was one of the greatest moments in that movie.
Yep.
But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. So
Sure.
both twisters start off heavy. So the first twister starts off with the main woman lead in the first movie.
Yeah.
She starts off as a little kid and she watches her dad die.
Yeah.
Like, they are in a cellar and he's trying to hold the door shut because it's about to break.
Yeah.
And it swings open and takes him with the door.
That's why you always want to use some kind of like metal rod or something to keep it, and you do not hold it. Because you cannot do that.
Yeah, he didn't have enough time.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. No, nothing against him. It's not like, nothing he could have done, but it's like, yeah. Barricade the door, not with you.
Yeah, so that movie starts off heavy.
Yeah.
This one is even heavier.
I was gonna say, it's pretty equivalently heavy.
It's
not
pretty
more.
bad.
Just like, holy shit.
So it starts off with a new girl lead, has nothing to do with the original lead. Honestly, I thought her mom was going to be the original lead.
Yep.
No. It has nothing to do with the original cast whatsoever.
No.
The only returning character is Dorothy.
Yeah.
The machine that
Yep.
he bought probably from the original woman lead, but
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, so we got a new girl lead. It's the next generation of storm chasers, as like some articles like put it, and honestly, that's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a science project, and in theory, she was going to disrupt a tornado. However, she miscalculates because she thought she was going after an F1, and it turned out to be an F5.
Yeah. Now that's why I was saying that while technically the classifications don't exactly relate to wind speeds and size, they kind of sort of relate to it. Because I feel like if the whole movie makes her out to be very good about knowing, she can just instinctively know, oh, this storm's going to turn in this direction. It's going to form over here because of these conditions. It's shocking to me that there was no possible way for her to know, oh, hold on, this looks way bigger. This is not going to be an F1. Even if you don't know it's going to be an F5, you'd think she'd be able to easily figure out, that's too big to be an F1. We should test something else.
To give her some credit, like, she was, like, younger back
Yeah, she was
then.
like 12, 16. I don't know.
About 16.
Yeah.
So she was much younger back then, so she
Sure.
might have not had as much experience as she does now.
I'm going to guess
But-
it's more she probably didn't have the tech. She probably couldn't see the National Weather Service, like, radar stuff.
Yeah, she didn't have as good as tech as she does now.
Yeah.
So, they're trying to do the thing where she's trying to disrupt a tornado. This was her science project.
Yep.
And in the process, since it became an F5,
Just everything's gone.
everything that could go wrong goes wrong. The car flips, the trailer flips.
Yep.
The car gets taken.
The
They have to book it by foot.
Yep.
And they go to an overpass, which, according to her, that is the worst place to be for a tornado. And honestly, that's kind of accurate.
It's a yes and no situation. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, it is the best place you're going to get. It is also a terrible place because, number one, the only safe place is directly under the road structure that's going above you. So you have to be where the banks hit the road. The problem with that is you have a tornado coming at this road structure. If it pulls the road structure off, you go. If it collapses the road structure, you get crushed. So it's basically a lose-lose and pray. There is literally no better option.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the process, she loses not only two of her best friends,
Yep.
but she loses her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And honestly, I felt that this movie gave more of an impact than the first one did.
Yeah, she was fucked up by this.
Yeah, like she played that part of being fucked up by this really, really well. The actress who did it
felt very traumatic.
Yes.
I don't know if she personally has gone through anything that level of trauma that may have helped her to act that way, but yeah, it very much came off on her personally. They're like, no, this is a huge trauma that she has not gotten over, that she is struggling with, and she wants to get as far away from that place as possible. She won't call her mom. She won't call the one guy who survived this shit. Just gone.
Yeah. Like, I felt so bad for her character because you feel that, like...
Yeah. Because the whole point of this movie is how much she wants to do the right thing by people. She wants to help save lives. And so it's like, she does the best thing she can, given this trauma that she's experienced with no solution for it. She's like, well, I'm good at predicting storms. I'm going to move to New York where there's no tornadoes, and I'm going to get a fucking job with the National Weather Service, and I'm staying the fuck away from this place.
That was her literal next best option.
It's like, I can still save lives, and I can be 1,000,000 miles away from death.
Yeah, seriously.
We're lucky in New York. We, like, a couple years ago, we got a F1. It's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, so let me talk about the tornadoes briefly in this movie. There are a lot more tornadoes in this movie than in the last movie. And
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know enough about Oklahoma to know how accurate this movie actually is, because I know Tornado Alley is a real place. Like there is a region where there's a lot of tornadoes. I don't know if the frequency of tornadoes in this movie in that small area is likely, or if it would have happened over a larger area.
let's just say it can happen in this kind of frequency, but it is not this frequent.
Yeah.
Like, you might have one maybe every.
Maybe once a week or something, but not like once a day, or in
No,
some cases twice a day.
You might. Like Tornado Alley, and yes, they do also have a tornado season.
Yeah.
And a season they could get up to 3 in a week.
Yeah.
So that is accurate.
Yeah, but this
but
felt even more frequent than that.
This felt more frequent, yes. There were a lot more tornadoes in this film than the last film.
Yeah.
The last film only maybe had 3 or 4. Yeah. This one had like 6 or 7.
Yeah, there was a lot of... Yeah, literally at one point, they're staring off they're in the middle of a field, staring off at me like, there's a tornado over there, there's 2 over there. And it's like, that's probably a little bit not accurate. Like, it's not impossible, but then to have another one the next day, and then another one the next day, all in that same area, it's like, that's probably too frequent.
That's probably less likely.
Yeah, that's very unlikely in terms of frequency.
But then again, I don't exactly know. I don't live in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I've been, like Father has. He has lived in Oklahoma and has told me stories about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's this frequent.
Yeah.
I think he has only been in one tornado.
Yeah, but there is definitely a lot of tornadoes, and it is this damaging. Like, the level of damage that these tornadoes do is accurate.
That is 100% to the point, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I already said everything about her disrupting the tornado and how it could actually make it worse. So let's talk about the other Storm Chaser team. So yeah, there's Hillbillies with a YouTube channel, and honestly, they are some of the best casted people in any movie
absolutely.
I've seen.
All those people definitely felt like, yep, they came from some random place and somehow ended up here.
What's a PhD? That was so good. We don't need... The only one who here has any education is Tyler. I was like, oh, if you feel it, chase it. I'm just like, stop connecting with us on a real level movie.
No, movies have finally started to realize, YouTubing is a thing, and it gets unusually popular in a lot of weird ways. So we're just going to have random YouTubers show up, and it's like, yeah, this is what happens. Yeah. You go to a serious event, and random YouTuber shows up. Just like, yeah.
Yeah, what these YouTubers do, they are some of the coolest people and the best people in the fucking film.
It's similar to how it's like, I don't know why this reminds me of this, but it reminds me a lot of you're sitting back on Thanksgiving and they have the fucking pumpkin chunkin thing happening, where it's like, how far can we catapult a fucking pumpkin? And it's like, yep, and here comes the YouTube group, and here's all these hillbillies, yep.
Can you shoot rockets into a tornado? Yes, you can. God, reminds me of like parkour episodes. With
I was gonna say
Ali Law,
this reminds me a whole lot of what if MythBusters was not made by professionals in their professionals who have had like many years of movie experience and are trying to do this in an academic way, and more just a bunch of guys just like, oh, we can fucking do that. Why not? And they just go do it.
This is the Tyler effect. That was so good.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other cool things in this film was the tech that they were using for the other team, like the first team she was a part of. The military-grade weather machine. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, military LiDAR, absolutely.
I was so interested in it, but as sad as it is, we never really got to see it in full fruition, but they got it for like a split second.
Yep.
And the way they had to do it was so dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
they had to
Well,
put it in the path of the tornado.
I was gonna say, I don't think that part was actually necessary because their whole thing was they just needed 3 pretty equidistant around it. You could have done it where the tornado's going this way and you had one at like 60 degrees here, one at 60 degrees here, and one behind it, and you should have got the same effect. So I think there was a way to do it where it wouldn't have 100% endangered people, but movie tension.
Yeah, we get that a lot throughout this film, and
Yeah, because you had to drive in front of a tornado and had to be within 500 miles, or not even 500 miles. Like, you had to be within like 50 meters
50
or something.
feet
like
of
50,
it or something.
It's like, yeah, it's, yeah.
Like 100 yards.
500 yards. Yeah, you had to be within 500 yards of the tornado.
Like that.
And it's like, that is too fucking close to a tornado actively coming at you.
That is insane.
And the second time they do it, I think is pretty accurate, where they set it down, they drive off, and it goes for like 2 minutes before it's gone. Because the tornado just eats it.
Yeah, they needed more powerful bolts like the truck.
Yeah, they needed to, that's what they needed to have, is they needed to have something to drill down to cement it there.
Yes, not
and then the tornado just pass over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the real problem with this guy's tech, by the way, is, yeah, it's cool, and yeah, it makes sense what it would do, and it would be pretty useful to get that information about exactly how a tornado's spinning, like the exact composition of it, the exact cloud structure and stuff like that. That would be very useful. But that would be near impossible to replicate. Because these guys are storm chasers. They're going to do this, and they're not going to be safe about it. Or they're going to be less safe about it. But if you wanted to rigorously scientifically do this, you'd have to do this in a safe environment. There's no possible way to do this in a safe environment. It is, by definition, unsafe.
Now, I think one failure of this movie was, that guy who was being an ass to the other main character that survived, the guy that survived.
Yeah.
They didn't get him swept up in a tornado.
Yeah.
There was an asshole in the first movie as well. He was like a rival storm chaser, like the Twister Chasers are in the second film.
Yeah.
He gets swept up because he was being stupid because it was a Sidewinder, and he didn't realize that.
Yep.
So
I'm honestly shocked that when they said get out, like stop, I'm getting out, that he didn't at some point die.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
how the hell did he not get swept up and die? Where did he even go? Like, he got left in the path of the tornado with no car. Where did he go and how did he survive?
Let's just he had to have, because like the guy is like, tell this guy we're done, and then he drives off and just leaves that guy to fend for himself.
He must have lived, but where did he go? There's nothing nearby except a ditch, and you ain't surviving in that ditch.
Yeah,
not against the F5. You're dead.
I wonder how he lived.
Yeah, how the fuck did that guy live?
So, that was the one failure I saw in the entire movie. But I'm trying to think. Oh, remember that one part? 90% of the time, it's a false alarm call. There's no tornado, and
here's the thing. I understand that person, because I'm definitely one of the people where it's like, I'm sitting in my house and I'm like, oh, there's a tornado siren going off. Okay, well, I'm just gonna keep going, because like it ain't specifically close enough to me that it's really a danger. So I get why they had that person, but that person's a dumbass.
They were literally next to a fucking window.
Yeah, here's the thing. If I looked out and saw, oh, that stuff's blowing really hard, maybe I should at least take cover for this one. Maybe it's not gonna actually hit us, but like, this seems pretty dangerous. It might break this window. I should at least get to an interior room.
And then the one stupid guy yelling at the manager of probably a hotel, I think.
Yeah. Well, I get him. Like, he's pissed off because
the power's out.
Power's out. His I don't know, vacation or whatever's ruined. He's the fucking rodeo just got closed due to storms. He can't do jack shit. I understand him.
I don't think he was even at the rodeo.
Maybe not, but like he's basically pissed off because he can't do anything. He can't watch any TV. He can't like Just like, well,
Well, it's not, what do you want the manager to do? He can't do shit
Yeah.
if there's a tornado.
yeah. What do you want? I'm not God. Let me just go outside and command the tornado to go away from me. Like, what the fuck you want?
That was so stupidly
Yeah.
great. And they used a pool.
Yeah, and that is a great idea because you're getting below
Yes.
the tornado. So it's like, that's probably one of the safest ways you could do it.
And then the next best thing happens to them where, like,
Yeah.
this camper comes
Tilts
and
over. Yeah.
covers them. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that is
Oh, yeah.
great, too.
Absolutely perfect.
There's been a lot of lucky situations. It's like, how
Yeah.
do none of these people die? I mean, granted, the 3 people we just talked about did die. The only extra people that survived was a mother and her kid.
Yeah.
By the way, don't get into a car if there's a tornado.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the thing. It's fine to get into a car if there's a tornado under these conditions. Number 1, you know what direction it's going. Number 2, you are far enough away from it to drive in a different
Away.
direction from
Yeah.
it. One of the frustrating things in this movie is there's a lot of times where people do the Prometheus school of running away from things, where they're like, there's a tornado. Let me drive away from the tornado in the direction it's going. And it's like, no, drive at an angle, because then you're going to be moving away from it, and it's going to go away from you. If you're driving away from it, it's going to keep following you. You need to drive at an angle so that it passes by you. It's like,
Yeah, you need
if you're going to be in a car doing that, you got to go away from it at an angle so that you don't get hit. But you can't be that close. That guy was a dumbass. Just like, we're in the middle of town, the tornado is right on the edge of town, you are dead. Do not try to drive away. Get underground. Get in a bunker.
Yeah, I know there was one tornado film where a guy gets swept up and you see the entire thing happen. Like, you see his perspective.
Yeah.
Like, he gets above the clouds and then he falls straight down, the
Yep.
car tilts over, and he gets smashed. He's dead.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing, is from my understanding, you don't actually die from a tornado itself. Unless you get hit by something in midair. When you get picked up by a tornado, you're completely alive and conscious, going through all this spinning. It is when you hit the ground that you die. So it's like, it is not a fun way to go.
No, because you are conscious the entire time unless you get knocked out. That's
Yeah.
the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other best case scenario, you fall and you live.
The best case scenario is you don't get picked up by the tornado.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this will inspire a spin-off and it's going to be called Hurricane.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is hurricanes aren't quite as dangerous. They are dangerous. People die to them, but they're technically less dangerous because they don't have as high winds and they're much more spread out. They just cause a lot of damage and usually die from other things. People aren't going to get as picked up as much. It's more, you're going to get crushed by the house falling down on you.
Yeah,
So
I could see that being a movie.
yeah, it's like I could still see that, but I don't know if they're going to specifically do that.
But, yeah, somehow, by the end of this movie, the main chick disrupts an F5 tornado.
Yeah.
Even though she had something that was designed specifically for, like, an F2? F1?
Yeah. Well, and again, the methodology that they're coming up with makes sense, and it probably would work. It's the big problem of the quantities you'd probably need to do that. Because effectively, it is possible, just to be clear on this, it is possible to do what this movie wants to do.
Yes.
The way they're
that is-
doing it is, oh, we're going to send this, I think it's sodium iodide, you send this up into the clouds, or into the storm specifically, into the tornado, and it converts the moisture in the tornado into rain. It specifically, it makes it so that it starts raining.
Yes.
And then you send up a material like, basically, diapers, which is what they're using in this. It's some kind of,
It's sand. Of
yeah,
some
it's
sort.
some kind of polymer.
Powder.
Yeah, some kind of powder that absorbs moisture. You send it up, it absorbs all the moisture, and that basically means that the tornado cannot continue to exist because there's no rain left. There's no moisture at all. Again, that's possible, but A, it is impractical. B, it would be dangerous as hell to attempt, and C, I don't know what the effects are of putting sodium iodide and a moisture reducer into the atmosphere. I don't know what the effects of that would be after you got rid of the tornado. Yeah, you get rid of the damage from the tornado, but it's like, how do you clean that up? Like, what
that might be the other reason why we don't disrupt tornadoes, because we don't know what effect it would have on the environment.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, in theory, if you had a way to say, okay, we're going to take out the wind speed, and it's just going to cause it to rain hard, I think everyone would be like, yeah, sure, that sounds like a best case scenario. But it's like, but how the fuck do you do that? How do you get rid of the wind? Like, I don't know.
I'm not, like, I'm barely a
biologist. I'm a physicist. I'm not God.
Like, what do I know about storms? But I do know about these movies. Like, yeah, I want to say this movie was just as good as the original.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. It was a good movie. Like I said, it was weird sitting back and being like, oh, I'm watching a rom-com.
Yeah, the twin, like, tornado in this film wasn't even the main.
No, that's the thing.
Tornado.
It's called Twisters. That's not even the main thing in the movie. It happens for like all of 20 minutes or less.
They mean twisters as in quantity. Twisters quantity.
But there was more than one Twister in Twister.
Yeah, I know.
They just didn't want to call it Twister 2.
Why? Who knows? It's the same logo. It's the same people with more steps, but...
Okay, one of the things... Actually, talking about this for a moment. I'm not stupid, right? Universal and Warner Bros. Are competing companies. Like, in the same way as, like, Disney and Universal are competing companies in that, like, if you have a Disney movie, Universal's not going to touch it. If you have a Universal movie, Disney's not going to generally touch it. It's weird to me, then, that this movie was made by Universal and Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers just partners with Fox and Universal for some projects.
Yeah, so I saw that and I'm like, that's weird. So this is a special situation where they partner with these movies.
It almost felt like I was about to watch a DC film because of this.
Sort of, yeah, I can get that.
But
Universal just has kind of that dark and gritty kind of... Like, this movie isn't quite dark and gritty, but it's got kind of that same atmosphere of, like, Batman v Superman, where it's supposed to be like, this is a real place and real people. And it's supposed to be very down to earth.
But yeah, I want to say this movie is probably near weather accurate.
Yeah, I mean, they literally have the National Weather Service show up. The one team was like, what was it? Who all was in there? They had a guy from National Weather Service, a guy from...
the military.
Well, yeah, they had a military guy. They had a guy from the National Weather Service. They had somebody from... There's two other
They had a journalist from London.
They had two other, like, government agencies that were, like, weather-related.
NASA.
Yeah, NASA.
And they had somebody else from...
I can't think of what the fourth one was. They literally like, oh, yep, it's alphabet soup here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have experts from everybody, and they're like, oh, yeah, this guy, yeah, he's no one special. He just dropped out of MIT, or he just graduated from MIT or something. It's like, what? It's like, how is it you go to MIT and you're the least important person there? I don't know.
But yeah, I want to say everything in this movie felt real. I like the science of it all. I like the weather. I like the cast.
Yeah, all the times where they stopped and were like, well, here's... Because the reporter constantly asks about, like, what the fuck's that mean? It's like, well, here's how the tornadoes work, and here's how the rain and precipitation work, and how the cloud... Like,
how he explains it is really good.
You can very clearly tell that this guy, in world, has been doing this YouTube channel for a while, and can explain these topics. Like, yes, I'm going to explain this to the audience right now. Here's exactly the scientific... stuff behind this tornado and why it's doing this. And it's like, yeah, you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, so
I feel bad for the guy who's taking this girl out on a date, and it's like, I'm gonna take her to a rodeo, and then finds out, A, she is literally from 10 miles away. She's probably been to like 900 rodeos in her life, so
This ain't my first rodeo.
this ain't anything special to her. And then it's hit by a fucking a tornado, and it's just like, God damn it, I can't even get this girl out of her shell long enough to take her on a date before we're hit by another fucking storm.
Yeah, I think the tornado at the rodeo, I was like,
It's like, why is this one happening?
no.
Just-
Well, what are the chances that this girl, like, tornado seems to be
Yeah,
drawn to her?
she even asks him that. It's like, she even asks if it was done on purpose. Like, were you tracking tornadoes out this far? Like, because I think for a second there she thought, did he bring me here because there was going to be a tornado?
And he's like, no.
And he doesn't even answer the question. It's so obvious he didn't do that.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
can
like,
see it on his face.
but
He's
it's like, what are the fucking odds?
I know. Like, even she was pissed off. Like,
Yeah. Also, I will admit I was quite stupid. Like, I was quite annoyed about part of the movie being like, because the last tornado was like, these buildings aren't built to withstand a tornado. It's like, but they're built in Tornado Alley. How are they not designed to be hit by a tornado?
Oh, I liked how that tornado was so powerful from that perspective. Like, they were in a movie theater, and the movie theater was collapsing around them. Yeah. I felt that our movie theater was in that tornado.
Yes,
I was like, oh, that was
a great
perfect.
scene, but it's like, but that building was built in Tornado Alley. How is it not better designed for being hit, maybe not hit by this tornado, but by a tornado, like an F2 or something? How is it not built for that? You are in the path of tornadoes.
Like, we don't exactly, like, prepare for every situation.
That's true, but for example, for earthquakes, if you build within an earthquake-prone area, like if you build in California, you're required to build your house to be earthquake-proof. So it's like, that's part of the building requirements, is you have to do certain things in code that say, this house will be earthquake-proof.
Yeah,
in quotes.
I don't know how...
So it's like, I don't know
how that applies
it's an
to
old
tornadoes.
building. Yeah, it's like, it's an old building, so it may have predated any regulations on, you must build these buildings like this to be resilient to a tornado, in quotes. Because nothing's resistant to being hit by a tornado.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, good.
It would be like if somebody built a building and said, this is a nuke-resistant building. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you can do stuff to reduce the effects, but it's like, it's a nuclear bomb. What the hell are you gonna... Like, you can't stop it.
Your best case scenario is to build your home underground.
Yeah. Again, assuming you're not in an earthquake-prone area.
Like, so...
Live in a dwarven city.
Yeah, I'm saying for, like, a tornado, your best case scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But all in all, guys, this is probably one of the best movies I've seen.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was really good.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think I'd say it's one of the best movies I've seen, but it was a good movie. I was very happy with it. I would absolutely encourage anyone to watch it.
I look forward to another sequel if we have one.
Yeah.
Maybe Hurricane.
Okay, guys, we are now on the part of the review where we look at the critical consensus. So today's critical consensus is less divided than previous critical consensuses. Twisters has 78% from critics, 92% from audiences. Critics are saying, summoning a storm of spectacle and carried along by the gale force winds of Glen Powell's charisma, Twisters is splendid with a high chance of thrills. I would agree. It is a very good movie. I would wholly suggest watching this movie. I think I'll go higher than the critics, because they're about 80, audience is about 90. Like,
I agree with the 90.
Yeah, I think I'd maybe go 85. But, like, it's a good movie. It's a very solid movie. If you like the original Twisters, you're going to like this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a...
Yes, it
like,
is worth
the characters are very interesting. They are very fun to watch.
They give their role
They
good.
chew the scenery very well and are enjoyable, and you should watch the movie.
Yes. I would 100% watch this again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good movie. So, yeah, I think that's about it.
Yep.
So, that's going to be it for this episode. We will come back next time with a new movie. I have no idea what the next movie is, because I don't check the movie each time. So, Younger bros aware. Anyways, we'll see you all on the next hot take.
Goodbye.